She soared through the skies with a dream bigger than the world itself. But one day, she vanished without a trace. No wreckage, no signal, no goodbye. For nearly a century, one question has haunted the world. What happened to Amelia Earhart? She wasn't just a pilot. Amelia was a symbol of bravery, a trailblazer who defied the expectations of her time. The first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, she captured the imagination of the world. In a time when women were told to stay small, she chose the sky. By 1937, she was already a legend, but she wanted more, to become the first person to circumnavigate the globe along the equator. It was the boldest challenge yet, and she almost made it. After traveling more than 22,000 miles, only 7,000 remained. On July 2nd, 1937, she and her navigator, Fred Noonan, took off from the New Guinea in their silver Lockheed Electra. Their next destination, Howland Island, a tiny speck in the vast Pacific Ocean. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca was stationed near the island, ready to help guide them, and at first, everything seemed to be going according to plan. Then, the radio signals began to fade. "We must be on you, but cannot see you," she said. "Gas is running low." That was one of the last confirmed messages from Amelia Earhart. Then, silent. She never landed. She never called again. She was gone. What followed was the most expensive air and sea search in U.S. history at the time. Dozens of ships and aircraft combed over 250,000 square miles of ocean. But there was no sign of Amelia, no plane, no debris, no life raft, nothing. And so began one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the world. For years, people have asked, what really happened? Did she run out of fuel and crash into the sea? Did she land on an uninhabited island and die alone, waiting for help that never came? Or, more strangely, was she captured by the Japanese and held prisoner? Each theory tells a different story. Each possibility pulls at the heart. The most widely accepted explanation is the crash and sink theory. It suggests that Amelia's plane simply ran out of fuel and she crashed into the Pacific Ocean. The ocean, deep and unforgiving, swallowed everything. No wreckage was ever recovered, but in that vast blue expanse, anything could vanish. But others aren't convinced. In the 1940s, islanders on Nikumaroro, a remote coral atoll in the Pacific, reported seeing a plane crash around the time Earhart disappeared. In 1940, British colonists found human bones, a woman's shoe, and a sextant box on the island. Forensic tests were inconclusive. Some believed it was Amelia. Others said the bones didn't match. In recent years, high-tech expeditions have explored the island and the surrounding water. They've found evidence of old campfires, fish bones, and tools, as if someone had tried to survive there. They even found a fragment of what could have been part of her plane. Still, no definitive proof. Then there's the theory that Amelia was captured by the Japanese. Some believe she veered off course and landed in the Marshall Islands, which were under Japanese control at the time. They say she may have been suspected of spying and taken into custody. There are stories, unconfirmed, of a white woman held on Saipan, of executions, of A photograph even surfaced in 2017 that allegedly showed Amelia and Fred alive, sitting on a dock in the Marshall Islands. But critics debunked it, saying the photo had been published in a travel book years earlier. Once again, the truth slipped away. There are even stranger theories. Some say she assumed a new identity and lived in secret after returning to the U.S. Others say her plane was taken by aliens. As wild as they seem, these stories speak to something deeper, a desperation to know what happened, a refusal to let her simply vanish. Because Amelia Earhart wasn't just a pilot, she was the pilot. The woman who made the world believe that nothing, not gravity, not gender, not fear, could hold her back, and then she was gone. We want to believe she survived, that she held on, that she carved out days and weeks on some silent island, watching the waves, hoping for a ship, a voice, a sign. We want to believe she fought, just like she always had. because the thought of her dying alone, forgotten by the very world she inspired, is too painful to bear. And maybe that's the real mystery. Not just where she went, but why her story still echoes. Amelia's disappearance wasn't just a tragedy. It was a symbol of dreams cut short, of questions that may never be answered, of the human need to know to bring closure to the unknown. But some mysteries refuse to be solved. Some stories demand to be told over and over so we never forget. Maybe one day the sea will give us the truth. Maybe we'll find the answers. But until then, we remember. We remember a woman who looked at the sky and said, "I want to go there." A woman who vanished but never truly disappeared. If this story moved you, share it. Share it with someone who still believes in chasing the impossible. Someone who's lost something, or someone and still hopes for answers. Like this video if you believe mysteries matter, not just for facts, but for the feelings they leave behind. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that leave you wondering. And tell us in the comments, what do you think happened to Amelia Earhart? Because the mystery lives on. And maybe, just maybe, the answer is out there, waiting for someone like you to find it.